GWR Duck. Although Duck was a small engine, he worked hard. He was really useful as he steamed along his branch line by the sea, carrying freight or passengers. One night a storm sent waves splashing over the track near a seaside station. As Duck went to stop next morning, he slipped on wet seaweed. Duck's wheels locked, but he slid forward, out of control, into some buffers. Kerrang! Hot steam gushed from his valves, and he stood huffing and hissing. Then Duck tried to back up, but his brakes jammed. So he was stuck until the engineers arrived to help him. That was only the start of his troubles. Next day, Duck was crossing the yard when Diesel raced past. "Park!" Diesel hooted rudely. Duck tried to whistle, but made a strange squeaky sound. "My whistle's broken," he sighed. Duck was told he would have to shunt trucks in the yard until it was mended. Just then his coupling hook snapped. His trucks broke away and rolled to a halt. "Whatever next?" groaned Duck. He soon found out, as one of his connecting rods broke. Again Duck couldn't move. "You'll have to go to the works to be fixed," the Fat Controller said. "If you ask me, Duck should go to the scrapyard," sneered Diesel. "He's worn out." Mavis overheard. "Ignore him," she told Duck. "He's jealous because you look smart with those bright letters GWR on your side. What do they stand for?" "Great Western Railway," replied Duck gloomily. "That's where I came from." "I thought they stood for going wrong regularly," laughed Diesel. "That's not funny," fumed Duck. Diesel sped away to fetch some trucks. Duck spent a whole week at the works. Afterwards he was as good as new. Then Diesel broke down and went for repair. Duck came to the rescue and took over all Diesel's jobs. He shunted trucks and collected freight. Duck felt really useful again, especially when the Fat Controller thanked him later in front of Diesel and all the other engines. Diesel scowled, but Mavis smiled. "Duck's letters GWR should stand for going well, really," she told the Fat Controller. "That's more than you've been doing," Mavis teased Diesel. Trevor is having a great time on the beach. Look closely at the picture and see if you can answer some questions about what you can see. Question 1. How many children are eating ice cream? Shall we count them? 1, 2. There are 2 children eating ice creams. Question 2. Can you see a dog in this picture? Point to him when you spot him. Have you found him yet? Yes, there he is, on the right behind Trevor, the traction engine. Question 3. What colour is the sky? The sky is blue. That means it's a nice day. The best sort of day for visiting the seaside. Question 4. How many buckets can you count? Shall we count them together? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. The buckets can be used to make wonderful sandcastles. Now let's join Oliver and Toad, who are out inspecting the railway lines. Oliver's mail train. "This is boring," moaned Oliver. He was due to pull the mail train that morning, but at the last minute he'd been given another job. Instead, Oliver was slowly following an engineer, walking ahead of him along Duck's branch line. The engineer was looking for track damage, while Oliver's brake van Toad was full of tools to repair any faults. "Hey!" called someone from the road. "I've had a puncture!" It was the postman. He pointed to a flat tyre on his bicycle. Oliver saw from his bulging postbag that he also had many letters to deliver. "We're only going slowly," replied Oliver. "That's perfect," grinned the postman. "I can skip off and make deliveries, then jump on again." The postman's bicycle was loaded into towed. The postman himself climbed aboard the footplate with his postbag. As Oliver puffed slowly along, the postman nipped off here and there to make deliveries. "Who's next for mail?" called Oliver when he returned. "2 letters for Mrs. Kindly," he replied. "Then a parcel for Mrs. Weeks." This carried on until the postbag was empty. It made Oliver's boring job far more interesting. "I didn't pull the mail train," Oliver chuckled, "but I helped deliver the mail instead." One of the troublesome trucks is trying to confuse the poor engines. Can you help figure out which engine will be pulling this truck today? Let's follow the lines. One of them is bound to lead to the truck. Let's see where Thomas's line is going. It's very twisty. And Thomas's line leads to a dead end. He's not pulling the troublesome truck today. I bet he's relieved. Now, do you think Percy's pulling the truck today? Let's follow his line. Here we go. Oh, Percy's line has ended. He's not taking the truck either. I expect he's too busy with his mail train. That leaves only one engine. Let's follow James's line. It's twisting, it's turning, and it's led right to the troublesome truck. James will not be happy to be pulling a truck, but he'll do it because he's a really useful engine, and he knows he can't always do the jobs he likes. Thanks for your help. Riding around. It's morning on the fast main line. Henry's looking really fine. Here comes Harold flying high, whizzing through the clear blue sky. "My helicopter blades can spin," he calls to Henry with a grin. "With whirly blades I go so fast," boasts Harold, zooming off at last. Once he's gone, the air is still. Then Henry spots an old windmill. He watches as its sails go round, slowly turning without a sound. "There's a children's roundabout," Henry hears his driver shout. "So much is going round today," smiles Henry as the children play. Then puffing on, he has to stare at something special in a fair. "That big wheel is really fun, giving rides to everyone," says Henry, pleased to be so busy. "If I used that I would feel dizzy. I'm glad this railway track is straight. If it were round I might lose my freight." Back at the yard, his work all done, Henry's steaming from his run. Before he rolls into the shed, he must turn round to go to bed. Henry smiles. "See, I am able to go round now on this turntable." Here are 4 pictures from a story, but they're not in the right order. Does this picture come first? I don't think so. This looks more like a happy ending than a beginning. Picture 4 looks right to me. I've got a feeling picture 1 is the next part of the story. Bertie's stuck in the mud, isn't he? What can be used to tow him out? A rope, of course. Trevor's driver is holding a rope in picture 3. I think that must come next, don't you? Picture 2 is next. Every story needs its happy ending. Can you tell the story now the pictures are in the right order? It's a story about the time Bertie got stuck in the mud at a summer fete. It goes something like this. One day Bertie is taking his passengers to the vicarage orchard. They are going to the vicar's summer fete. It's very wet and raining heavily, but Bertie isn't worried. The soggy ground is no problem for a modern bus. Bertie pulls into the vicarage orchard. Then it happened. Bertie's tyres sunk into the mud. "Help!" he wailed. He tried to go forwards. He tried to back up, but it was no use. Bertie's wheels just spun in the mud, and he sunk even deeper. One of Bertie's passengers goes to find Trevor, who lives in the orchard. Every year he gives rides to the children at the fete, but this was an emergency. Trevor's driver fetches a rope and ties one end of it to Bertie. He fastens the other end to Trevor. Trevor's wide driving wheels do not get stuck in the mud easily. Trevor heaves with all his might and finally manages to pull Bertie out of the mud. "Thank you, Trevor," said a very grateful Bertie. The bus is happy to be free, but he's also a little embarrassed about being rescued by an old-fashioned traction engine. Trevor may be very old, but that doesn't mean he can't be as useful as any other road vehicle, even a big modern bus like Bertie. Did you enjoy that story? I just made it up. You can do that too if you want to. See if you can put your own story together from these pictures. Anyone can tell a story, and there's nothing more special than sharing a story. Percy's Promise. One morning Thomas was puffing along a coastline, taking some children to the beach. He met Percy pulling some trucks to the harbour. "I'm busy this evening," said Thomas. "Will you be able to take the children home?" "Of course I will," promised Percy. Later Percy saw Harold. "I'm on high alert due to bad weather," he explained. "I can go anywhere, in any weather," huffed Percy. At tea time Percy collected the children. The rain streamed down Percy's boiler. "I wish I could see," he moaned, battling against the rain. The rain had got so bad it flooded the track. The water lapped against Percy's wheels. Percy was losing steam, but he plunged bravely forward. "I promised," he panted, and with one last effort he brought the train home. "Well done, Percy," Thomas congratulated as he pulled into the station. "You kept your promise despite everything." The Fat Controller arrived in Harold and thanked Percy. "You are a really useful engine," he said, smiling. "Oh, sir," whispered Percy happily. Chimney Crisis. One day Thomas puffed by a small building site. There were 4 new houses. "We only need the chimney pots to finish them off, Thomas," called the painter. Thomas answered, "Don't worry, we're going to the harbour now. There's been a shipment from the mainland. We'll be delivering them this afternoon." At the harbour, Thomas saw the chimney pots being unloaded. Suddenly, the corner of the pallet hit a stack of bricks, and they crashed to the ground. The crane driver groaned. "Clumsy Colin, they call me. Now you know why." Then he had an idea. "Those chimneys were urgent. Well, leave it to me." Colin phoned the clay pit manager. "It's urgent. You used to make all sorts of things. Well, we need chimney pots." The clay pit manager was happy to help. Thomas took a potter to the new houses where one family was already moving in. "What style of chimney pots would you like? I'll be making them," he said. Just then ducks steamed past. The children waved to him, and one of them shouted, "We'd like a chimney like ducks." The potter smiled. "That's a good idea." The potter asked Thomas to take him to see the engines with the best chimneys. Soon he was at the mountain railway. "Reneus has a good one," he grinned. Then he went on to draw the chimneys of Skarloey and Peter Sam. With his drawings he went to the old pottery at the clay pits to start work on the new chimneys. Next week Thomas was sent to the pit. There, in a truck, the 4 special chimney pots were packed in straw. The potter smiled. "Go steady, Thomas." The first chimney to go up was just like ducks. The boy grinned. "That was my idea, and we've called our house Montague. That's Duck's other name." Skarloey's and Peter Sam's chimneys went up. "I wonder what the last one is?" the boy asked. "It's easy. The house is named Reneus," peeped Thomas. If you liked what you heard, please consider leaving a like as well as commenting and subscribing. See you all again soon. Bye bye.